Hello, in this video we are going to see the foreign exchange market. You know the saying, if the US sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. Well, Argentina is dependent on the US economy like a baby in the womb of the mother, and the umbilical cordon is the dollar. So in this video, basically we are going to analyze the relationship between interest rate, the Argentinian pesos, and the USA dollar. However, in the simulator we are going to talk about local interest rate and interest rate abroad. So the local is going to be the interest rate in Argentina, and the abroad is going to be the interest rate in USA. But you can apply the math that we are going to use here to your own country. Let's say that you are in America, then the local is going to be America, and the foreign is going to be, for example, China. So in the previous video we went from this equilibrium to the money market, then we went to the investment, then exchange rate, and we will go on with this market. But in this video we're going to be focused on this part, the exchange rate as a function of interest rate. So what we want to know is why, if the interest rate is 5%, then the exchange rate is this. So this is what we are going to see in this video. Okay, let's get started. We are going to use a very simple space-time representation, not like the space-time Einstein general relativity theory, but in a quite useful way. So let's say that I have 1,000 Argentinian pesos, and now the interest rate in Argentina is 5%. Well, now in Argentina is much higher than that, but I use this example to simplify the math. And in this example, let's assume that we are in January, 1st of January 2013. So if I put this 1,000 pesos in Argentina with 5% interest in 1 year, then I know that in 1 year we are going to have the 1,000 pesos times 1 plus the interest in Argentina, which is this. So we are going to get 1,050 pesos. So the initial 1,000 plus an additional 50 pesos. So in this case we travel in time. Now we are going to travel also in space. So if I want to go to state, then I need the umbilical cordon, which is the dollar. So I have to look at the exchange rate. Let's say that the exchange rate is 10, meaning that $1 is 10 pesos, to simplify the math. So if I change this 1,000 pesos into dollars, then I have to divide this by 10, and then I get $100. And then I travel to United States with this $100, and then I am in the United States already with $100. So now let's assume that 1st of January of this year the interest rate in America is 3%. So if I put this $100 with the interest, then in 1 year, now we travel in time, I will have the $100, so I will have this $100 here, times 1 plus the interest in USA. So this is going to be 3% more. So in 1 year I'm going to get $100 plus 3 additional dollars. Now I return to Argentina with this $103, So I am now in Argentina with this money, and now we are going to change this dollar into pesos. Well, we will never do that in Argentina unless it's strictly necessary, by the way. But actually we are traveling in space and in time only with our imagination, because we are here in Argentina in January of this year. So we are just speculating about these journeys in space and in time. So when we said now we change these dollars into pesos, we have to ask the question, what is the exchange rate in 1 year? Well, the answer is that we don't know, because we are here in time. So what we do in order to speculate is to use the expected exchange rate in 1 year, the exchange rate that we think that we are going to have in 1 year. So let's say that this expected exchange rate has this value. So if this is the case, then in order to change dollar into pesos, I have to multiply this $103 times the expected exchange rate, and then this times this gives us exactly this amount of money. I chose this value to get exactly this. So we multiply $103 times this, and then we get 1,050 pesos. So with these values, then it is the same thing to travel like this, just in time, or to travel in space to America, then in time, and then back to Argentina, assuming that all of the trips are for free. So if this is the case, then we say that the foreign exchange market is in equilibrium, and then to travel in time staying in Argentina, then we get 1,000 times this, which is this, and if we do this journey, then we get this, then we get this, and in equilibrium this quantity is equal to this quantity. So now we can divide by 1,000 both sides, and then we get this, and then we isolate this variable E, the exchange rate, and then we get this expression that tells us how the interest abroad, in this case in the United States, the exchange rate that we expect to have in 1 year, and the interest rate in Argentina, in this case, in general the local interest rate, affect or put pressure on the current exchange rate. So if the interest rate abroad goes up, then the exchange rate here goes up as well. Why? Because if ceteris paribus everything else remain constant, then with the higher interest rate abroad, then here I will have more than 3 additional dollars. Then when I change the money back to Argentina, I get more money. So many Argentinians will want to buy dollars, then the demand for dollar increases, then the price of the dollar increases. So this exchange rate has to go up. Now, if Argentinians know or think that the exchange rate is going to go up, then the expected exchange rate in 1 year is going to be higher. So mathematically, if this goes up, the exchange rate goes up as well. And the explanation is similar to the previous case. If people think that the exchange rate is going to increase a lot, then it is very convenient to get dollar now to sell it later. So the demand for dollar increases, then the price of dollar increases. So when you increase the expectation, then the prophecy fulfills. The exchange rate goes up. And finally, the interest in Argentina, the local interest, is in the inverse relation. So because this is dividing this expression, if the interest rate in Argentina goes down, then the exchange rate goes up. And this makes sense because if the interest rate in Argentina goes down, then I will get less money traveling through time. It will be more convenient to do this journey if the rest of the value remain the same. So let's see this with numbers in the simulator. We saw in the previous videos that with this data, then the interest rate was 5, and we use this 5 here and we use this 5 here. Now we are going to use this 5 here. So we know that the interest rate in Argentina is 0.05, and now we use the information that interest rate in USA is 0.033%, and instead of assuming that the expected exchange rate was this, we are going to assume that the expected exchange rate is 10.3. So we have the E expected is 10.3. So with these three values, then we are going to calculate this expression. So we say that the exchange rate is 1 plus the interest rate in Argentina times the expected exchange rate divided by 1 plus, oh sorry, here is the exchange rate in USA, and here is 1 plus the interest rate in Argentina. So we get this value 10.1. so this is the 10.1 rounded that we get here. And we justify recently that if the interest rate in USA goes up, the exchange rate should go up. So if the exchange rate in USA goes from 0.03 to 0.04, let's say, then the exchange rate goes up from 10.1 to 10.2. So if we raise the interest rate in USA, which here is abroad, from 3% to 4%, then we can see that we actually can do the following. We have this 10.1, and then we are not going to clean the current figure, so we can compare, and the interest abroad, in this case in the United States, go from 3% to 4%. So what we can see is that the exchange rate passed from 10.1 to 10.2, and this was what we expected. If the interest in USA passed from 3% to 4%, then the exchange rate has to go to 10.2, which is this value. Now, if the expected exchange rate goes up here, mathematically it says that in direct relationship exchange rate have to go up in exactly the same proportion, so the prophecy fulfilled. So if the expected exchange rate that right now is 10.3 pass to, let's say, 10.5, so what we get here, this is going to be 10.5 instead of 10.3. So here what we should get is the exchange rate should go up to 10.4. So it should end up very close to 10.5. So if we increase the expected exchange rate from 10.3 to 10.5, then what we get is 10.4. And finally, if the local interest rate, in this case the interest rate in Argentina, goes up, then exchange rate goes down, and vice versa. If this goes down, then the exchange rate goes up. Can we do it in the simulator, changing the local interest rate? No, because the interest rate here is an endogenous variable. Endogenous means that it is determined by the equation that we have been using, where these values that we are able to change are exogenous. So we can just change them. Where in the case of the local interest rate, we cannot change it here. But we can change it indirectly. For example, we can increase the government expenditure. We are going to do that in future videos, and we will see that the interest rate goes up, or we can increase the money supply, monetary policy, and then we will see that the interest rate goes down. So if I start from scratch, and then we are not going to clean the current picture because I want to keep this. Then we are going to see in future videos that if we increase M, which represent nominal money, from 600 to, let's say, X 100, then we are going to see in future videos that the interest rate would go to 2.5 if the prices wouldn't increase, but if the prices increases, then it will go to 3.2. We are going to see this in future videos, but I am going to be focused on this information that tell us that if the interest rate is 5, then the exchange rate is this. If the interest rate is 2.5, the exchange rate is 10.35, and this other example for the purple color information. We already explained why if local interest rate goes down, then we say that it's more convenient to go like this because this interest rate is very low. So now we want to see numerically these things. With the value that we have in the panel, then we got the value 10.1 for E, which is 10 for 1. Remember that the value that we use for interest in Argentina, if we want to find out the value for interest in Argentina, we set it to 5%. So that's why with 5% we get 10.1. Now, if the interest rate in Argentina, because of this expansionary monetary policy, went from 600 to 800, then if the prices doesn't change, then the interest rate goes to 2.5. So if the interest rate in Argentina goes from 0.05, 5%, it went to 2.5. So here we have this. So in this case, the exchange rate in Argentina should be 10.35, which is 10.35 that we have here. Now, if the exchange rate in Argentina is 3.2, then here we have 3.2, and then the exchange rate should be 10.28, which is this 10.28. In future videos we will see that this kind of bounce happen because prices are not constant if the supply curve is not horizontal. So if the supply curve, the aggregate supply curve, is horizontal, then we will get this point. But if it is not, then we will get this purple color point. So in conclusion, if these two exogenous variables, exogenous in the model that we have developed up to now, change, then exchange rate will change in direct relation, and if this endogenous variable changes, then exchange rate will change in inverse relation. In the particular case of Argentina, the one who put more pressure in the exchange rate is the expected exchange rate. Why so? Because if you go to this page, then you will see this European Central Bank. You will see that in Argentina in 2001, when we have the corralito that I mentioned, this was the exchange rate, 1 peso, $1. So then when the corralito, you can see this video, in this year, before the corralito, you have $1, 1 pesos. After the corralito, then in just 1 year, $1, 4 pesos. So the price of the dollar multiply times 4 in 1 year. Actually, at the beginning of the year, it was already 3 times more. And then it went up and up and up, and here, for example, since from 2014 to 2016, here it passed from 8 to 15, which is actually more complicated than that, because we have like different kind of dollar. We have now we have a unique dollar, kind of unique, but recently we have $1, one official dollar or legal dollar, and we have also a parallel or black dollar with different values. In Venezuela, you still have this situation with a huge difference between the black dollar and the legal dollar. So because of this reason, people in Argentina always expect that the dollar might increase. And this is a very important reason why because of this belief, the dollar actually does increase. At that time, when the President de la Rúa finished, we can see here the crisis in 2001, 5 presidentes en 2 semanas. When the Corralito happened, then the current president at that time, De la Rúa, has to escape in a helicopter, and then after he escaped, or kind of left, then we had 5 presidents in 2 weeks. Okay, so in the next video we are going to see this, which is an approximation for the foreign exchange market. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.